Vauhini.
Hi, Jennifer.
I'm so happy you're here today, and I'm so excited to talk with you about your efforts with the Akshaya Patra Foundation in Switzerland. So could you please tell us a little bit about your Dance Through Life? Who are you?
Jennifer, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am Indian by birth and blood. I am American by citizenship, and I'm a Swiss by residence. So as you can tell, I have lived all across the world. And diversity and inclusivity are core values that I carry with me. And I hope that is reflected in my everyday work and also reflected in my professional life. My dance through life. I am a unique blend of my parents. My passion and curiosity for science and technology, I believe comes from my father, who was a renowned immunologist, epidemiologist, actually from India. And I think I get inspired by him. And since a very young age, I've been inspired by him. But actually, the true inspiration is my mother. And she is a person who I look up to. She has demonstrated the true values of a moral compass a person should carry by her actions and deeds, just by reaching out and taking care of the underprivileged, marginalized community in India. So, you asked me the question, what is my dance in life? I have carried these values for a very, very long time, Jennifer. And let me give you two examples as to what inspired me to go and get involved in Akshaya Patra. When I was 3 years old, very, very young, we used to have domestic help in India. So we used to have a lady, and she had about 10 family members living with her that she used to support. So every day she used to come to work, and I used to see my mother, of course, cook for all of us. We are a large family. But at the same time, she used to cook a lot more. So I used to wonder as to why is she cooking so much? I'm very young, right? I'm a child, 3 years old.
Sure.
And I used to crawl behind her, and I used to see that she used to take a pot of rice and several small vessels of food, Indian food, and she used to serve it to the lady who used to come and help us. And during lunch in our backyard, I used to see these 10 people come, sit around the food that mom used to cook, hot, fresh meals, and they all used to sit and eat. So for me, I thought that was the way of life. I thought that is what you do. You just don't cook for yourself, but you cook for others first before you cook for yourself. So that is the first example and I was very young. So at that age, these impressions in life are engraved, right? I mean, they don't go away. Mm-hmm. The second example I give you was in 2007 when I was at Dow Chemical, and I was part of a project which was to understand opportunities in the marginalized communities in India. And it was for low-cost housing in India. And with that project, I traveled to one of the poorest villages in southern India. And I had a person with me who, we went and visited this family. This is a family of 6. There were 4 girls and parents. And I get off the car with my laptop, and I was dressed like as a corporate person. Mm-hmm. And I walk in there, and they looked at me and they welcomed me with folded hands. And Jennifer, had nothing on them. Their home was a shack. It was mud walls. It was thatched leaves. The girls had nothing but barely clothed. The man was a poor farmer, and I immediately lost it. I just left my laptop bag at the entrance, And I just walked in because they kind of gave me a place, they made it clean and they gave me a place to sit.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, the lady, I knew, I could tell that there was hardly anything at home. She served me a big glass of buttermilk, like it's very common in India. And
Mm-hmm.
then, she cooked a meal for me. And I was blown away. I said, "You don't have anything at home and you are cooking for me and you're serving me food?" I lost it. I was just literally in tears. I said, this is what it means to take care of others, to take care of hosts and guests who come to you. And my goodness, that family still continues to inspire me, Jennifer. They don't know how much they have changed me. But that day, I took it upon myself that I should be their voice to whatever I do in life. And they still inspire me today. So that is the journey towards Akshaya Patra. They actually are the real reason. My mother, the domestic help at home, and this incident that happened in 2007 together has led me into this journey of Akshaya Patra.
Mm-hmm. That is such a beautiful story. And it has also moved me to tears. I'm holding them back as you're talking through the story.
Isn't it?
Wow. So these examples of, your mother serving others and caring for others and showing that care and love through food, and sharing that with others who may not have, those means. And, the domestic help that, was present in your life at an early age. And this family who obviously came from very humble roots and had very, very little, but was willing to share everything that they had with you. And even maybe to the extent that it meant that they went without.
Yes.
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 So
That sunk into me. I'm like, you have barely anything and you're giving that part of what belongs to you to me.
mm-hmm.
And I'm sure the parents must have not had anything to eat that night, but that really touched me. I'm like, this is in the 21st century, in 2007, people are living in such utter poverty. I mean, it just touched me and moved me so much, Jennifer.
Mm-hmm. So that was the foundation and the inspiration for you to get involved with Akshaya Patra in Switzerland. And you actually founded the chapter in Switzerland. So please
Correct.
help the listeners understand, what is Akshaya Patra and what is your role in the organization today?
Sure. Akshaya Patra are two words. What Akshaya means limitless or unlimited, and Patra means a bowl. So what it means, it's an unlimited bowl of food, or it's an unlimited vessel of food. So that is what Akshaya Patra stands for. And how did I get involved in it? So this started in summer of 2019. I was actually in the UK for another meeting, and I was invited to attend a session by Bhavani, who's the CEO of Akshaya Patra, at the Oxford Cambridge Club. And when he made the presentation, I literally, could feel shivers going down my spine. I'm like, wow, it was a very compelling presentation. It was a video, and what touched me the most was the testimonials by the children who are part of the Akshaya Patra Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
They actually were the ones who benefited from this foundation. They were the people who are giving back. They're the people who are giving back again to Akshaya Patra. So let me talk a little bit about the organization. The organization or the foundation was founded in 2000 in India. It's headquartered in Bangalore, India. It started off with serving 1,500 children. They are the largest not-for-profit organization that serves midday meals to children. So what does that mean? That means, they serve healthy, nutritious, hot vegetarian meals every day, 6 days a week. So in India, what happens is the poor families, they send their children to work so that they can earn a living for the family.
Sure.
But because there's hardly any food, food is what brings the child to the school. But what that does is that child not only gets fed in the school, but they also get educated. So what education does is in turn, it breaks the cycle of poverty. And these children who have benefited out of this Akshaya Patra Foundation, Jennifer, they themselves have become role models for other children. And they go and volunteer back into this Akshaya Patra Foundation. It's like giving back. Whatever you get, you give back. So that really is powerful. And I'm like, wow, it's the children themselves are ambassadors of Akshaya Patra. And who are we? I mean, they themselves are benefiting from this program, but they're also giving back. So today, they started off in 2000 with 1,500 children. 22 years later, they are serving 1.8 million children across India every day. Fresh, hot, healthy, nutritious vegetarian meals. They cook them across 57 kitchens, and they serve approximately 19,000 schools in India across 22 states. So it's massive. It's an organization in itself. So when I met Bhavani, I went up and spoke to him, and I said, I'm really touched. I'm like, this is 2019. We're still talking about child hunger. What can I do to help you? And he's like, why don't you start the Switzerland chapter? So I said, okay, this was summer of 2019, pre-pandemic, December rolled in. I was like, it was in the back of my mind, but how sometimes you get caught into other things. Then I get a phone call end of February, early March. That's when the pandemic had really hit big in India. And he said, Vauhini, I really want you to help me. The situation is very dire. Can we do something, please? I said, that's it. That's my mission. So March 2020 is when things changed. I picked up the phone and I called two of my very good friends over here. They did not even blink. They did not even question me. They said, we're in. So the three of us, we just got started. It's bootstraps, nothing. We didn't have anything formal. Each of us, we just, said, what do we do? And we said, we just want to do fundraisers because we wanted to collect funds to send back to India, especially for the pandemic, because all of 2020 and all of 2021, as the rest of the world, India has been severely impacted by the pandemic. So, but now today, 2 years later, we have 25 plus volunteers, part of Akshaya Patra Switzerland. Our team has doubled. So we are now a total of 6 people. My role as a president founder is to ensure that the strategy is in place, that we have the right team. Of course, we have 3 different objectives of Akshaya Patra in Switzerland. Number 1 is to build the brand. Because we are competing with a lot of other not-for-profit organizations. Sure. So I'll talk about the differentiation part a little bit later. Second one is to grow our volunteer footprint, because without the volunteers, they are the heart and soul of any not-for-profit organization. It is your mind and heart of giving that propels any not-for-profit organization. And the third, of course, we need the funds. As compared to other not-for-profit organizations, Jennifer, we are all volunteers. We're not paid. We send 90% of all that we raise back to India. Everything is accounted for. We just keep 10% for our operational expenses. So that's the story of Akshaya Patra.
That is such an amazing story. And to understand that this all started not only with the values that you were infused with growing up, but also that it started at the same time the pandemic started, is such an interesting combination of factors to me. What, for people who are listening, what do you want them to take away from this story about Akshaya Patra and about volunteerism and about child hunger and the connection between hunger and food?
And that's a very good question, Jennifer. Actually, the pandemic has exacerbated the situation beyond words. Um, One of the surveys in India shows that 120 million people in India were impacted by the pandemic. Almost about 100 million people, are in utter poverty because of the pandemic. It's not just during the pandemic, but it is the life after the pandemic. And this is going to continue on for years.
Mhm.
74% of the people in this 100 million, we're talking about 74 million people, have lost their jobs. They absolutely have nothing. So they are only dependent upon, foundations like ours to help them come back again to a decent way of life. And it all starts with food on the table. Without that, I mean, that is a basic need for any human being.
Mhm.
And child hunger, which is, Akshaya Patra actually touches 6 out of the 17 UN SDGs. And we're talking about child hunger because, when we talk of hunger and poverty in children, it is not just their lives, but it is also the community at large that is impacted because the children are the future of any country.
Mhm.
And if a child is not fed, there are issues with health. If a child is malnourished, there are issues as the child grows up. There are issues not only mental, but physical, emotional, psychological. I mean, a whole host of issues come up. So I think hunger is a basic need for a human being. And in 2022, to be talking about hunger, I feel it's something that we should not be talking about. This is a problem that we should not be talking about, Jennifer, in the next 3 years. We should come into a situation where everybody has enough food that people are able to live normal lives.
Mhm.
So, by doing my bit, what I wanted to demonstrate is we need to take care of the marginalized and the underprivileged communities, wherever they may be in the world, and give them hope, give them that assurance that they're going to be taken care of. And the only way we can do that is through volunteerism, because that's what we can give. I mean,
Mhm.
there are different ways of giving. There's ways of giving funds, there are ways of giving time, there's ways of giving your skills, your expertise. And we get to do all this in a structured way through Akshaya Patra. So I'm very proud of my team and I represent my team, and we are very proud of the work that we are doing. We have just started off. There are many, many barriers to cross, but I'm sure that we are going to get there sooner or later.
Mhm. So, if people want to help you with Akshaya Patra, how can they best get a hold of you and where can they go online to help you?
But the best way is to go www.tapf.ch,
Mhm.
and they can directly reach me at vahini.telikapalli@tapf.ch.
Mhm.
There's lots of information also available at www.akshayapatra.org. They
Mhm.
can look into the information that is available on the internet. One thing that differentiates Akshaya Patra is it is actually a combination of precision science and engineering combined with complex organization and systems and with spirituality steeped in. And it's that unique combination that is done at scale. Can you imagine 57 kitchens cooking meals to serve 1.8 million children every day? And it's amazing. It's a factory which produces hot, nutritious meals. And that is the one thing that they do is there's no compromise on the quality of food. There's no compromise on the nutrition factor of the food, because it's also important. It's not just being fed, but it's being fed the right nutrient value for a child, especially, you know, for children at such a young age. So yeah, I mean, it's, and if your viewers and listeners are interested, we can arrange for a tour for them to go visit our kitchens in India. They also have a kitchen in the UK. And who knows, in the future, we may have a small kitchen also in Switzerland that people can come and visit.
Well, it sounds like there's many ways that people can get involved if they'd like to get involved. And again, that website was www.T like Tom, A, P like Paul, F like Frank, .C like Charlie, H like Henry.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Vauhini, for being here today. I appreciate you sharing your story. And I hope that we can drive a whole bunch of traffic to your website and help even more children realize that hunger is no longer an issue for them going forward.
Thank you, Jennifer. But in my parting notes, may I just add a couple more points? You know, one would think when you go to a Subway place and have your Subway sandwich, you know, we don't even think twice, right? I mean, we just say, what could a Subway sandwich do? Or, you know, a cappuccino at Starbucks. Well, a lot, because for $20 a year, a child can be fed for the entire year. So we're talking about just $20, which is 18 francs, serving one child fresh, hot, nutritious vegetarian meals for the entire year. So that is the difference. So every time I go to Starbucks or to Subway, I think, you know, if I don't eat that sandwich, probably a child could be fed for at least 6 months in a year, if not 9 months in a year. So I'm saying, you know, small changes can make huge impacts on other people's lives. So let's all look out for people who are not as lucky as we are and take care of them as well, because this world belongs to everybody. Thank you, Jennifer, again for this opportunity and for your time. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Vauhini.